All right, so let's get started. I'm Marilyn Boismer. I'm with the NAD tech team. Our job is to make the experience on Sabbath the best we can, and with the technology side of things. So our goal is to make it simple as possible, so you are successful. We don't want team members to stress. We want you to concentrate on what you've learned and not worry about the technology. All right. So let me introduce some of the tech people that we have online that will be helping you on Saturday. We have Key Song, if you would wave, Key. He'll be running the Nearpod sessions that you'll be using. And then we have Miguel. And Miguel, there he is. Miguel, if you'd wave.
Hello.
Yeah. So Miguel, he's the one who makes sure all your points and your answers get to the judges. That's his job. And then we have Oscar, which I think he hasn't joined yet. He'll be joining in a minute. And he's going to make sure our monitors have good access. And then there's a whole team of like 20 people who will be on the floor to help you stay connected and answer any questions. So the goal is to keep you well supported. So next, I'd like to start with prayer. I think we should always start with prayer. We'll bow our heads. Dear Heavenly Father, we ask you to come with us in this meeting. Help us to be clear, to understand, to ask good questions, to give good answers, so that Sabbath we can represent you the very best we know how. Be with us and bless us as we travel. In Jesus' name, amen. All right. So a little bit of an overview. First of all, I'm not sure everybody knows where to find the best information. So I'm going to share my screen. And if I come here, most of you, I think, have seen the NAD PBE website. See that the URL for it right here? It has lots of information, but one of the things it has is resources. You can either click here or you can click here, okay? When you go there, and we update it as soon as we know things. This gives you an idea of where the event will be. It's at the Expo Hall at the Florida Fairgrounds, all right? Now, it's a really, really big place. And there's something else going on at the other end, not by us. So make sure you go to the Expo Hall and not to see the horses. So the horses might be interesting. That's not what we're doing. So when you come to the fairgrounds, follow the signs to the Expo Hall. Parking will be free. The North American division is picking up the cost of your parking, so you don't have to pay on Sabbath. So that's the first part of information here. Then there is what we're doing now, the training sessions. But more importantly is what to bring. This here tells you that you need to bring a laptop. So every team needs a laptop, a power adapter because your battery will not last long enough, an extension cord, and this is new for this year, an Ethernet port connection. Most laptops nowadays don't have one built in. So you will need an adapter. These 3 links here take you to examples of adapters. So I'm going to ask Key to bring those up, and he'll walk you through what they do or what they're for.
All right, if you can see my screen. So most laptops have, and iPads have either a USB-A, a USB-C, or maybe a Lightning connector. So depending on the connection you have on your laptop or iPad, you'll have to bring one of these adapters. So look at your computer. If the USB port looks like this, buy this one. If the USB port looks kind of like this, buy this one. This is a USB-C adapter. And then usually if you're thinking of bringing an iPad I guess can have a USB-C, but some iPads have a Lightning bolt connector. So you'll have to purchase one of these and bring this to the event so that you can connect a physical wire, an Ethernet wire, into your computer or iPad so that we don't have to worry about Wi-Fi issues.
Right. We will not be using the Wi-Fi. We will be directly connecting to the internet via hard wire. So our hope and our goal is to have teams not drop off because they have trouble with their Wi-Fi. By being directly connected, you shouldn't have an interruption to your service. So that's one less thing to worry about during testing. Your system should not go down. All right. Thank you, Keith. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about what the venue looks like. This is a drawing of the event. You're going to park in the parking lot and you're going to come in this main entrance. Your director or your coach will come over to this side over here and they'll register you. Your monitors will come over here and they'll register. Once your director has you registered and you get your wristbands, you will go to your tables. There are tables and they're all numbered. You're going to go to your numbered table. Underneath your table will be your electrical connection and your Ethernet connection. But if you have issues or have problems, there will be people there to help you get connected. If you will notice, we have some teams over here and here. These are the French teams. They will be doing the test in French. These are the Korean teams. They will be doing theirs in Korean, but we're all together. All right. Now, your parents, when they come in, they'll go up these stairs. There's balcony seating up here and balcony seating over here for all the parents, visitors, grandparents, everybody who came with you who wants to watch. Now, this area here, this is a live stream area. This is where the cameras and the color commentary will be made from. There's a boom camera here. There's cameras here. So people who can't come with you, like maybe you're flying into Tampa, but your parents couldn't come. Well, they can watch the whole event by going to the nadpbe.org site. It'll be on the front screen. They can log in there and they can see the whole event. All right. Hope that kind of answers a few questions. So Key, if you would go over how uniform inspection is going to work.
Okay. So once everybody goes to their table with their entire team, and then the monitor that is assigned to your team is also there, the monitor will bring up this form. It's a Google form and it's titled the 2023 PBE Uniform Inspection Form for the NAD level. On here, the monitor is going to type in their information, your team number, the union you're from, and then your church, club, and team name. And then they're going to go in and type in, inspect every one of the team members, maybe even the alternate as well. So up to 7 team members. And they're going to type in the team member's name and then check yes or no on all the uniform components of the uniform. And they'll go through that for every single team member. If you'll notice, there are some fields that are marked with a red asterisk. Those are required fields. So, and it will be required for the monitor to either type in an answer for the name or check all of the checkboxes here. So, if your team has, so if you notice here, the form is required to enter in team member information for up to 6 team members, and then the 7th one is optional. But let's say your team only has 4 team members, then what they'll be instructed to do is on team member 5 and 6, they'll just type in no team not applicable or NA, and then just check yes for all of the uniform components for both team number 5 and 6. But they'll have to type all of that in. And then once they're done, they'll click on submit. And that'll be the uniform inspection. I know there are some questions sometimes where team members say, hey, what happens if we don't pass inspection? I think Marilyn will give you an answer on that one.
Okay, what happens, they'll inspect you and these forms go to a big spreadsheet. If there are members of your team that have issues with their uniform, it gets passed to the director of PBE, which is Pastor Gene Clapp. What he does with that information, I'm not sure, but I know for sure you will not be deducted points. If, let's say you get to Tampa and you forgot your belt, okay? You forgot to put it in your suitcase. You will not get deducted points, but it will be noted that you forgot your belt, okay? And what they do about it, I'm not sure. That's not something the tech team handles. Our job is to collect the information and pass it on. But I do know they will not deduct points if you're not in full uniform. All right,
Cool.
so the next thing I'd like to cover is let's go how the testing works for the teams. Now, for those of you who are going to be scribes, this is the part that you need to pay close attention to.
All right. So this part of the session today is going to be interactive if you want it to be. So once your team gets to the venue and you get to your desk and you plug in your computer to power and to the internet, the only thing that you should have on your computer up and running is one internet browser. Doesn't matter which one it is. And then what the site you need to go to is this website, nearpod.com. And you can do that right now if you want. Once you go there, you're actually going to be given during registration one of these sheets of papers. It's going to look something very similar to this. And on here, it's going to be one piece of information that tells you, hey, this is the Nearpod test code. So then for today, the Nearpod test code is BIGLC. So you can do that right now if you want. In this field right here, where it says students join a lesson, you type in the Nearpod test code. So today is going to be BIGLC.
And that's just for today.
Just for today, correct. And then you click on the right arrow. Once you go in there, you'll be presented with a screen that says, hey, enter in your full name and your optional nickname. In the full name field, you're going to type in your team number. It's going to be a combination of letters and numbers. And again, it'll be on the sheet of paper that we give to you during registration. But for today, my team number is going to be DET 12345. But every team will have a unique number that's assigned to them, and that's the number that you type into this full name field. In the optional nickname field, you will type in, it's going to be a combination of your club name and team name and maybe team number. So for me, it's going to be, today it's going to be Fairview, Flames, Fiery, Flamingos 3.0. And that's my name. So again, full name is your team number, and then optional nickname is your team name. And then you click on join the lesson. And what you'll see is this screen. It should be the first screen. Today is the practice test, but on the day of the event, it'll be North American Division level test, Book of John. Okay. What we're going to be doing in the background is we'll see all the teams that are logged in real time. So today I see the teams that are logged in, good number, and we'll check off the list of all the teams that are registered and make sure they're logged in correctly. Let's say I'm going to use Micah Bravo as an example. Instead of typing in your team number in the full name field, you typed in your team name or your personal name in here. Well, that's not the right number because the right number needs to be in that field for us to be able to score you and associate your answer to your team properly. So if it's not correct, then what we're going to do on the back end, and I'm sorry, Micah, we'll remove you from the test. And as soon as we remove you from the test, we'll go to your area and tell you, hey, you logged in incorrectly. You need to re-log in with the correct information. Okay?
Well, Micah, you can log back in.
And you can log back in, yeah. Once all of the teams are logged in, then we will start the test. So
what was the code?
Today it's BIGLC. BIGLC. Okay. So what you're seeing on the right-hand side of the screen is my view of the person that's running the Nearpod test. Let's focus on the left side. This is what you'll see at your desk, at your table. So I don't know if we mentioned it, but typically a team is assigns one person the role of scribe. And the scribe is the one that types in your team's answers into Nearpod, okay? So that could be one person, maybe some teams, they pass around the computer so that the person that knows the answer can type in the answer into Nearpod. Regardless, the scribe, in this example today, I'm going to say the scribe enters in the answer into Nearpod. So you're not writing answers on paper or anywhere else. You're typing your answers into Nearpod. And I'm going to move to the next screen, and you'll see that as my screen moves, your screen will move as well. Okay, they're going to read the disclaimer, and then this other slide, and then it'll say, let the testing begin. So let me go through a couple scenarios of what would happen, starting from kind of best case scenario to maybe worst case scenario. So the first one is the best case scenario. We read the question. Somebody's going to read the question in English and then Spanish. And then we're going to go to the next slide. And then we're going to click on this start activity. And you'll see the timer on your screen go count down 3, 2, 1. And then you'll see the question appear in both English and Spanish. And you'll be able to write your answers into this field. This is my answer. And then you can click on submit. As soon as you click on submit, the answer will be transmitted to us, the graders. Okay, so you'll see my answer here, and I see everybody's answer. Good, and the time is up, and it's done. So that's kind of the best case scenario. You answer the question one time, you type it in, you click on submit, you're done. Nothing else to do. Your answer is already submitted. No need for runners or anybody to pick up any papers or anything like that.
Is I supposed to put my name into there?
No, it has the full name, so that your team number on the left-hand side here.
Okay.
So this is what we'll use to know that this team with this unique number answered this way.
I don't know what my team member is, so I don't think I'll
Yeah.
be able to.
Well, today is an example, but on the day of the event, we will give you a sheet of paper that will give you where it'll have your team number written on the piece of paper. Okay, good question. All right, so, and then the next slide, it'll show the answer, fourth and new, and I saw a few people write that in, so that's great. And then we'll go to the next question. Now, this is maybe a little bit different, so we'll read the question in English and Spanish and go to the answer slide. Again, you see the countdown. Now, let's say we type the answer. This is my answer. And then you click on submit, but there's still some time remaining. And then somebody else says, no, actually, that's the wrong answer. Then as long as there's time remaining, you can click on edit answer and then change your answer. This is my new answer. And then you can click on submit again. And then what happens in the background is whatever answer you typed in and submitted before the timer expired, that is the one answer that will be submitted to the judges. Okay. So let's say if I look at mine, this is my new answer and that's submitted. It's done. So it doesn't, for example, it doesn't submit two different answers for you. It just submits whatever answer you typed in last. Okay. So let me go through one more scenario or two more. So let's say question number 3, you type in it, they read the question in both English and Spanish. They go to the answer slide, goes in, and then you start typing your answer. Say, this is my first answer. You click on submit. And then after a little time, you say, no, that's not right. This is my second answer, right? And you click on submit again. And there's still time. You click on, oh, no, wait, this is my third answer. And you click to submit again. I said, no, that's not it. And this is my fourth answer. And then before the time is up, or as the time expires, you can't click on submit because you're still typing in this is my fourth answer. Let's say it's SWE, and then you're about to click on submit, but you don't because time is up. The answer that is submitted is the last piece, the last string, the last answer you typed in before the time went up. So you see here, my answer that was submitted to the judges is, this is my fourth ANSWE without the R, even though I didn't click on submit. Does that make sense? So it's Nearpod will capture the answer that was in that field when the time expired. Doesn't matter if you clicked on submit or not, whatever answer you typed in, that's what will be submitted to the judges.
So it submits automatically.
Yeah, it automatically grabs the last thing that you typed in, and that's what's submitted to the judges. Now, last one. During this whole time, when you're answering the questions, your monitor, the adult that's also sitting with you, has their own computer, and they're typing in your answers into a separate Google Sheet. So this is a sample one, but let's say on this one, they type in every single answer that you type into Nearpod, they're also typing it into Google Sheets. So let's go through this example. Let's say you get to the screen question number 4, and you start typing something in, you submit, and then you say there's still time, and then somehow your computer crashes. You accidentally turn off your browser, or your computer loses internet connection, or something catastrophic happens. It's okay. You don't need to worry because, again, as a backup, the monitor that's sitting next to you is typing your answer into the Google Sheet on their own. Okay? Does that make sense? So then let me give you a little bit of insight into what happens in the back end. So you'll see here, for every question, you'll see for every team, there's an answer, a Nearpod answer, and a monitor answer. So every time you type in an answer, the monitor is also typing in your answer into that Google Sheet. And both of those answers will be submitted to the judges so that they can score you based on both of those answers. Now, let's say in this one, this one is easy. Both answers are exactly the same. So the judges don't have to make any decision. They just take a look at your answer and say if it's right or not. Now, let's say there's an answer here, but there is no answer here. Well, let's say pretend this is blank. Then they'll take your Nearpod answer and then judge you accordingly. Let's say for some reason the monitor didn't type it in. Then they'll take the Nearpod answer. Let's say it's vice versa. Let's say your answer is blank, the Nearpod answer is blank because your Nearpod crashed and the monitor puts in an answer. Then they'll take the answer that is in the monitor and grade you according to the monitor's answer. Now, if the answer is different between this one, the Nearpod answer, and the monitor, unless there is some note that the monitor typed in saying, for some reason, your answer that you typed in is incorrect or is invalid, take this answer, they'll be instructed to do that. Then, unless something like that happens, the answer that the judge will be instructed to grade is your Nearpod answer. The Nearpod answer is the source of truth, I guess, for lack of a better term. That's the one that they take, unless the monitor puts a note in there saying, hey, this is their answer and this is the reason why. There could be many different reasons. All right?
For example, let's say you don't type very fast and the answer is Peter, James, and John. You're typed in Peter, comma, James, comma, J. The time ran out. The monitor can put Peter, James, and John because you've told the monitor that that's what you're trying to type. And then in the note, they will put Nearpod, they were unable to finish typing. Okay, so the judges will take that in consideration, that it's not that you didn't know the answer, is that you don't type very fast. Okay, so the monitor's there as your backup. They have your back, that if something happens to your Nearpod, or for some reason you can't get it all typed in, but you did know the answer and you gave them the answer before the time was up, that will count, okay? So it's real important that you communicate well with your monitor so that they can get it all in for you, all right?
Cool.
All right, that's pretty cool. So,
Yeah.
are you done with the judges? I think you are.
I think so, yeah.
Okay, let me talk a little bit about monitors. The monitors, like I said, they're there to get your back. Now, here are ways to communicate with your monitor. You can tell them what you're typing. In other words, you can just say it. We're typing in Peter, or whatever it is the answer is. You can have them look at your Nearpod screen as you type, and they just copy off your screen. Or you can write it down on a piece of paper and pass it to them. Whatever method works for your team. Now, if you're going to write it down and pass it to them, you need to let one of us know, because we need to give you extra paper. In your registration packet, there will be 5 half sheets of paper, blank paper, that you can keep notes on or whatever. But that's not enough if you're going to write every answer down, because there's 90 of them to pass to your monitor. So just let us know and we will give you enough paper to pass to your monitor. Some teams feel more comfortable writing it and passing it to the monitor. Some teams feel more comfortable saying it, and that's fine, or having them go off the Nearpod screen. If you remember in the picture of how the teams were set up, the teams are set up with the chairs on either side and one at the end. Normally the monitor sits at the end, but he doesn't need to. That monitor can sit next to the scribe and just go, and they can both look at the monitor can look at the screen. But we want this to be comfortable for the team. So you guys need to decide how you want to pass information. Now, what happens while your system's down? Let's say you have a catastrophic failure, your computer crashes for whatever reason, okay? You need to raise your hand. The test continues. You start writing down your answers on one of those 5 pieces of paper and passing them to the monitor so they can keep putting them into Google Sheets. Somebody from the tech team will come to your table and get your computer back working. If your computer completely crashed, you dropped it on the floor. You got so excited because you got an answer right and boom, it went on the floor. Now the screen's broken. We'll get you a backup computer, okay? We will have your back, but the testing continues. So you guys concentrate on the test. The tech team will concentrate on getting you back into Nearpod, okay? You don't have to worry about getting back into Nearpod or getting back online. And that's one of the reasons we have the monitors there, is that they can keep putting answers in for you while your Nearpod's getting back up. We don't expect that to happen very often. Fact is, we don't expect it to happen at all. But we always prepare for the worst and hope for the best. So if there's an issue, raise your hand, one of the tech people. There's going to be 20 tech people on the floor, each of them watching a small group of you for any hands raised, any issues. Now, let's say your monitor that you get is mean. Okay, they say things that are not appropriate, or they're difficult. Okay, you can tell one of the tech monitors, one of the tech people, our monitor is giving us trouble, and we will deal with that. Okay, because it is your experience, your test. We want you to have the very best experience. 99.999% of the monitors are just so happy that you're there, and they are going to have your back. But every once in a while, we have one that gets distracted, isn't paying attention, wanders off, gets up from their chair and doesn't, any problem that you may have, let us know and we will have your back. We will make sure that you have a monitor that works with you. All right. Now, Keith, can you explain
Yes.
how they can challenge a question?
Oh, yes. Hold on. I didn't bring this up. So we're going to have a Google form available for you where, let's see. Oh, there's a jot form, right?
Good job, Tanya.
This one. It's going to look something similar to this, where at the end of every half, so at the end of the first half and at the end of the second half, you'll have time to submit your challenges to questions via this jot form. It's going to have a place where you can type in your team number, the union, conference, church, and all of this information, so we can identify which club or which team is submitting the challenge, and then the question number that you are challenging, and then finally the reason why you are challenging that question. So why you think the question or answer has an issue, and then you would submit that form at the end of every half, first or second half. You would have, if you have multiple questions you want to challenge, then you would have to submit it and then fill out the form again for the other questions that you want to challenge. I think maybe if you want to clarify, Marilyn, in the past you had to challenge because there were other issues, but there's a specific case where we would you would want to challenge a question.
Okay, the challenge is if the question is confusing or ambiguous, okay?
Mhm.
It is a bad question. Not that your answer, or you think your answer might be right and you want the judges to kind of consider because you really did know more, but you didn't write it down. No. Is the question a good question or not? An example was that was challenged at the union level, and it was a valid challenge. They quoted a whole verse, according to John, and it gave the verse, but in the question they only quoted the first part of the verse and asked for an answer. Well, it turns out the same exact words are in the first part of the verse and the last part of the verse. So there were two answers you could have for that one question. And that's what they challenged, that it was not clear that they wanted the answer only for the first part, not for the first and the second part. That was a valid challenge. So this is to challenge if a question has a problem. Now, it is between at the halftime, your director or coach can help you fill out this form. It is for the captain to do, so it should be the captain doing it, but the coach or director can help you make your sentences, whatever it is you need to express, help you write it clearly. Because some of us aren't very good at putting into writing what we'd like to say. So they can help you do that. So that is done between the first half and the second half, or at the very end. All right.
Cool. One question came up in the chat. I think most of them were answered, but this one, somebody said, hey, if you click on this open navigator, you'll see all the questions and answers. Well, if you notice, you can only see the slides up to the questions that were already shown previously. So for example, if you look here, you'll see question number 4, but you can't go beyond it. So I've heard sometimes people getting worried, hey, I see all the questions and answers, but that's not possible because you can only see up to the question slides that you've already seen previously. That makes sense? Let's see. There were some other questions in here. Can the monitor enter in the answer after time is up? Maybe Marilyn, if you want to answer that question.
Okay. The way the monitor sheet is not time sensitive. In other words, they can type slower, the time can be up, answers being given, they can still be typing. They can even go back and put a note on a previous answer. In other words, you can have them put a note. Can you put a note here? And they can do that. Theirs is not time restricted like Nearpod. The teams are time restricted. The monitors are just supposed to put the answers in as they get them from you. They may type slower. They can put notes. They can correct things if they need to. But they're going to put whatever you tell them to put in there. They're not answering your questions. They're just putting down what you tell them to put down.
Okay. Another question that just came in. How does a captain fill out the challenge form? With their own device, the monitor's device, or the scribe's device? They don't have to bring their own device. They can use the scribe's device.
Mm-hmm.
Or
or they can use the director's telephone. Which whatever works for you to connect to that form.
Okay. There was another question. Hey, how is this going to work for virtual teams?
Virtual teams will have the same Nearpod session
Hmm.
as everyone else. Their answers go to the judges with everyone else. The only difference is they're going to be at one location, like their church, and the questions will be put up on the screen, just like you would have, like, so they can see the questions as the readers read them. So
Hmm.
that's really the only other communication. They will
Yeah.
have another session which has the audio of the readers and the in
PowerPoint.
PowerPoint slides. Thank you. The PowerPoint slides that you see and you hear when you're on the floor, the virtual teams will have that also.
Okay, good. Oh, interesting. Somebody wrote, "Hey, I don't see a belt
Oh, I
this
guess
form,
Belt wasn't.
and we have
Belt
to
wasn't.
add it."
Well, I think
Yeah.
we'll leave the form as is. So you have a
Okay.
grace there with the belt.
Also,
Okay.
Marlene, to add to the virtual teams, we're gonna have a WhatsApp chat with the monitors. So in the case of issues, monitor is gonna tell us about the issue. And if it's something like, I mean, lose connection with everything, and then the answer is gonna be a piece of paper, he's gonna send that piece of paper, a copy of that piece of paper to us, and then we'll give it to the judges.
Right. We've tried to think of all the different scenarios that we could have and make sure we get your answer to the judges.
Okay.
Let's see.
Yes, the question is, do we only challenge questions at halftime? So at halftime and then at full time at the end of the test, but not in between.
Someone asked if it has to be a laptop or can it be an iPad? Whatever you bring needs to have a keyboard. It is pretty much going to be impossible for you to type in your answers on the virtual touch screen. You're going to need a keyboard. If you're going to be using an iPad, we need to make sure does an iPad for Nearpod need an app, or is it directly off the web?
For Nearpod, it's just a browser. So if it's an iPad, it would probably be Safari.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then if you're a monitor and you're using an iPad, you will need to have the app downloaded from the App Store. But you need a keyboard.
There's a question, how long is halftime? I believe it's scheduled for 15 minutes. Is that right?
Yeah, it's scheduled 15 minutes. There are 6 bathrooms that'll be available, so hopefully that'll work out. Let's see what else. What if we do have both the laptop crash and both laptops
Monitors, yeah.
the monitors? Well, keep writing the answers down on the paper. The monitor can catch up. Like, since it's not time sensitive, let's say 3 questions go by while they're getting everybody hooked up again. As long as you've written them down within the time that you're supposed to and pass them to the monitor, then you're good. All right.
Okay. A couple more questions. Do we need to bring our Bibles? And then the next question is, how can we go to the bathroom if we're challenging questions?
Okay. That's true. Going to the bathroom and challenging questions, but like here, let me give you a couple of hints. When you have a question that you think you need to challenge, while that question is on the screen, make yourself a note. Write down the question number and what it is about the question. You will not remember 20 questions later what exactly that question had a problem with. So make a note that the captain should do that. Okay. So if you want to challenge a question, the captain should do that. Now, if hopefully you don't have very many challenges. Usually there aren't very many challenges, and you can go to the bathroom in the 15 minutes and write up your challenge. If you don't get it done at halftime, do it at the end, because you can challenge questions from any part of the test, either at halftime or at the end. Okay, so we don't worry about it. If you can't get it done at the halftime, just as long as you've written yourself a note so you know you need to do that, you can do it at the end.
Another question was, I wrote the answer to it. Is the scribe the only one that's allowed to type? No, it's not. Anybody can type on your team. We've seen different strategies by different teams. But no,
Oh.
it's not required that the scribe is the only one that's allowed to type.
Or you can pass the laptop to someone else to type the long answer, a complicated answer, for whatever reason.
Okay.
Total points, I don't know how many points.
Yeah, I don't either.
We don't know till we see the test, we don't know. But somebody asked, what score do you first place? The safest bet is assume one team will get perfect. Okay,
Mhm.
just make that assumption. And that you get 90% of perfect, you're guaranteed first place. Okay, but you have to have 90% of the highest score, but just assume somebody will get them all right. In many years, we have at least one team with a perfect score.
Okay. There's another question by Anitha. What does it mean if mobiles can't be in the building? I think that might be something related to when we were using Wi-Fi. We wanted to prevent, I think, two things. We wanted to try to minimize the interference with the Wi-Fi network. So that's why we asked people to put their phones in airplane mode. That's one. For the spectators. For the actual participants, definitely you should not have your phone with you. The only device you should be allowed to have with you is that one computer for your scribe, and then the monitor is supposed to bring their own computer. But you shouldn't have any other devices with you during testing.
Somebody asked a first aid question. If you have a bloody nose, or you feel faint, or you think you're going to throw up, or anything like that, we do have a first aid station, and we will escort you there and take care of you. But the testing keeps going. The event keeps rolling, but we will take you to first aid, and they will deal with the whatever the problem is.
One more question. For the challenges, can the director type challenges in on behalf of the team? I don't see why not. They would have to know the reason why and the questions that they're challenging, right?
Technically, the captain is the one who challenged the question, so the director needs to work with the captain. The director can actually do the typing if necessary and help them put the sentence together. But no, directors cannot do the challenges. It has to be the captain.
Mm-hmm. Good. Okay. When do we ask for more paper if we want to write our answers down?
You can ask before the competition starts. Once you get to your spot, just let your tech person know, and we will bring you more paper.
Okay.
I
Those are
have
all
a
the questions.
question.
Yes.
So if like how we said they're doing the uniform inspections, if we're like missing like for example black socks, will we like be removed from participating?
No, you
No.
will not be removed from participating. I don't know what Gene does with the information. I have never seen a team removed because of their uniform not being right, but I've never seen a team that looked terrible. I've seen teams where they forgot one piece or another, but in general, I've not seen anything. By the time you get to the North American Division level, you've had your uniform inspected at area, at conference, and at union. So hopefully by then you've got it figured out. And usually we see everybody very nicely turned out and looking very good. But if you forgot your black socks, it'll just get noted and passed to Pastor Gene Platt.
Lots of good questions.
Yeah, a lot of good questions.
Mhm.
Just so you know, the
Mm,
judges will be looking for your answers in Nearpod. If we see 2 or 3 answers missing and you haven't raised your hand, someone will come to your table and find out what's going on. You do need to type into Nearpod. You can't say, oh, I'll just give them all to my monitor and I won't bother to use Nearpod. No, you need to use Nearpod. Somebody will come by your table, do that. It is your text. It is your answers we want, and we want them from you. The monitor is just backing you up. They are not your primary source of answers. Oh, yeah, let's
Somebody
go.
asked the question,
That's a
yeah,
good
the
idea.
schedule. Mhm.
Yeah, let's go over the schedule. Can you make that screen bigger?
Yes.
All right. So you will notice that Friday night Vespers is not at the fairgrounds. I repeat, not at the fairgrounds. Friday night Vespers is at Mount Calvary Seventh-day Adventist Church. It is very near the fairgrounds, but it is not the fairgrounds. Sabbath morning, registration begins at 8. Please, please, please be on time. There's not a lot of time to get 151 teams all registered and all, excuse me, in their right places. If everybody decides to show up at 9, okay, it won't happen. We need everybody there, and you'll feel much more comfortable, much more at ease if you come in, get registered, can sit down, take pictures with family, joke, and just be calm and ready to go versus rushing in the door, trying, oh no, we're going to be late. No, that just doesn't do any good to your testing. Okay. So try to be there at 8 o'clock. At 12:30, when testing ends, is lunchtime. If your team has ordered lunches, they will be served right there in the main building in the exhibit hall. If you are not eating with us, you have something else, you have until 2 o'clock. At 2 o'clock, everyone's to be back in the main hall for the worship program, and right directly after worship will be awards. Okay, so Friday night at Mount Calvary, Sabbath all day long at the exhibit hall. Good question.
One question by Naomi. What if a teammate isn't there? Or the team, I think there was a question above. What if a team doesn't show up?
Okay, what has happened in the past, let's say one team member is late. The testing starts. When that team member arrives, they will get escorted to the table. Okay. If a team does not show, we will try to communicate about 30 minutes before the event to find out what has happened, why they aren't there, if they're on their way, their plane got delayed, their plane didn't land, whatever their issue is. They may have to go virtual. Let's say their plane got canceled. Well, they'll have to go virtual, and we will work with them to get them worked out. If they got a flat tire on the way there, testing will still start. As soon as they get there, we'll escort them to their table and they'll get started. But that's the best we can do.
I have a question regarding the Ethernet cables.
Mhm.
So our club is doing it virtually. I know at the venue you're gonna have multiple Ethernet cables for the monitors and the scribe, correct?
Right.
Yes.
The virtual teams don't need to do the Ethernet. You can do it with your Wi-Fi because you're not going to be competing with anybody except they're at the church, right? Or wherever they're going to be doing their testing. So as long as they have a good internet connection, they'll be fine. They don't need to have an Ethernet. Ethernet is just more stable. So if you have the ability to plug them in, that's great. But in general, a remote team they're the only ones there, maybe at the church, school, or in someone's home. As long as they have a good connection, they don't have to have an Ethernet connection. The Ethernet connection is for the people in the venue because we have so many connections. We're going to have about 400 connections being made, and having them wirelessly gets to be a problem to keep them stable.
Got it. Thank you.
That was a good question.
See, what type of drinks are you allowed to have on the floor during testing? Water?
Water.
Okay.
If you want
And
something
then
other than water, if there's a need for something other than water, like let's say you're allergic to water, then we would do something else. But I haven't run into that. So water is the only thing. No electronic devices, no ear pods, no smartwatches, no cell phones. All of that has to be given to your director or your parents during testing. and your computer only has Nearpod up. It's the only thing open on your computer.
Will the answers or grades be provided afterwards?
No.
No.
The scores are never given out to anyone
Mhm.
on any level of testing. So you will, at awards, you will know if you came in first, second, or third place, but that's all you will know.
Couple more questions. How about coconut water? I don't know.
I've not had that question before. I could ask Gene, Pastor Gene, and see what he says. But generally, there's no food of any kind, and a drink like coconut water would be a food. So just water.
I wouldn't suggest coconut water because sometimes it's a little bit delicate on the digestive system.
It's better just to have water, just plain water. God made a good thing when he made water.
Couple more questions. What happens if a team is caught cheating in any way?
If that happens, it gets reported. It goes to Pastor Gene Clapp. He usually forms a committee and they discuss what they will do. The tech team doesn't deal with it other than reporting. But it will be Pastor Armando, Pastor Gene, and Pastor Carolyn would be the ones who would decide what corrective action is taken.
Okay. Where will parents and Pathfinder staff be?
They will be in the balcony. Let me bring up that map again so
Okay.
people can see. All right, so there's these stairs on the sides here. There's balcony all along here and all along here. You can probably seat about 1,500 people up there. So there should be plenty of room for them to be up here. And last time we had the question, where does the alternate sit? The alternate can sit up here with everybody else. They don't need to be on the main floor.
Is this the same venue where the afternoon activities will be held?
Everything on Sabbath will be in this one hall here. And we are not converting these tables. When you come back at 2 o'clock, you'll go back to your assigned table. Okay, because we will be calling teams for here from awards. So all the teams will be in these chairs all day. This is where the teams go. The monitor does not need to be there in the afternoon, and the alternate can sit with their team in the afternoon. But the teams will all be in their pods for all the activities. Any other questions?
Couple more questions. At the end, can we go up to the balcony?
Yes.
Is it too late to buy lunches? Do we have to bring our own tables?
Okay, you don't bring your own tables. Tables are provided. Lunch ordering closed today, right, Steve?
It did. Yes, it did.
So no more lunch purchases. And so you will need to bring your own lunch if you didn't already purchase a lunch.
And let's see. Another one. Can the family sit with the team after, I'm assuming after the testing is over, or maybe vice versa? Can the team members sit in the balcony?
They are requesting
yeah.
that during awards, they be down in their pods. Now you can come down for pictures, and there'll be numerous places where you can do pictures.
Okay.
So,
I think one last question. What are the safety measures that are going to be in place?
okay, there is a first aid station with qualified emergency personnel. There's a defibrillator on site. The fire warden has to approve our plans. So all the exits and egress have been checked. to make sure that if something were to happen, we have an ability to empty the building quickly. So those are the basic things that we have for emergencies.
How about security measures? I'm kind of worried because it's a big place. There's other events going on.
We
But
have
my child
security
doesn't get-
outside and inside. We have security personnel patrolling outside and security personnel patrolling inside, yes.
Okay.
And just to clarify, the other events that are happening on the same fairgrounds is in different buildings. We're the only event that's happening in the expo hall. So there are no other events that are happening at the same time in the expo hall specifically.
Yeah, they're in a whole other section of the
Fairgrounds. Yeah.
fairgrounds.
And then we do have security, right?
Yes, we have security inside and out.
Okay, thank you.
A couple more questions, maybe last two questions before we move to the monitoring one. Are emotional support pets allowed in the building? Maybe not necessarily with the Pathfinders, but in the building. And then the last question, what if the captain is away? Who takes place of the captains or captain?
Yeah, usually it's the scribe who takes the place of the captain, and support animals for, if a person comes to support animal, they need to talk to security, and we will accommodate them as best we can. So they just need to check in so that we know that there's a support animal and that it is safe for everyone at the venue. So yes, someone asked, masks are not required, but if you want to wear a mask, that's perfectly acceptable.
Yeah.
All right, we need to hop off of this call and go to the monitor meeting. So those of you who want to do that, there's a link for the monitor meeting. You need to hop over there and we will see you in a moment. Bye.